Welcome to Thoughts on the Bench, where we think on the bench. Today we're going to talk about music. Music. Anyway, Christian music, secular music. What is the problem with either one? We're not exactly saying there's a problem with either one. As Christians, we fully uphold and support every Christian artist out there who has a heart for service and a heart for God. But however, we're going to look at how contemporary Christian music impacts our culture and compare that to how secular music performed by Christians impacts our culture. So we're going to start off with looking at The Fray. The Fray is a band composed of Christians playing under a secular label, playing secular music that doesn't glorify God. However, if we look at some of The Fray's songs, such as How to Save a Life, we see a Christian attitude within that song. In addition to that, we see that they have a much greater impact on society than any other Christian music combined put together's impact on secular society.
So, another good example to bring up while we're talking about Christian music is Switchfoot. Switchfoot, although they were under a Christian label, they did something very extraordinary. They got their single, Meant to Live, onto secular radio, and they're still playing it from the 90s. It's almost 10 years old at this point, and it's still being played on secular stations.
Every now and again,
every now and again. Yeah. And I think that's actually extraordinary.
It's an extraordinary.
Still labeled as Christian. Now, moving on to a secular kind of basis. Secular music, I'm going to talk specifically about Linkin Park. Many people think that Linkin Park is evil, they scream, and they're hardcore, and stuff like that.
They have tattoos, that's evil.
Anyway, they have their lyrics, although they are not explicitly Christian, they actually are not Christian. They are explicit sometimes, but they are pure expression of very strong emotions, which I think is very crucial to bring out in any kind of art, whether it be dark emotions, happy emotions, but happy emotions in this culture honestly don't happen a lot.
If you really think about it, you don't. If you have a song talking about how great life is currently, how great everything is, people don't identify with that. People identify with a darker side of music, a music that hits them where they are when they're down.
People are depressed. People are depressed with depressive coding and depressive insides. Alone. And then they have this little hole. But I'm not going to go into that because that sounds
cliche.
Right. Anyway, so one of the most controversial artists that I actually enjoy the music of,
talking about how great life is currently, how great everything is, people don't identify with that. People identify with a darker side of music, a music that hits them where they are when they're down.
People are depressed. People are depressed with depressive coding and depressive insides. Alone. And then they have this little hole. But I'm not going to go into that because that sounds
cliche.
Right. Anyway, so one of the most controversial artists that I actually enjoy the music of is Eminem. Eminem is, in my opinion, one of the most talented rappers out there. He is, and many people think he's controversial because of what he talks about.
And he has tattoos. That's bad.
Right. Anyway, he talks about things, but all his lyrics are based off of what is happening in his real life. He's completely honest with culture about who he is. And I think
his lyrics really, he's transparent with his listeners by singing about where he actually is with life.
Something good to have in an artist, and that's partly why he's such an impact on culture, why he's such an icon. Another icon, Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson is another extremely controversial heavy metal artist. Although I admit he is disgusting. He is a very smart man. He was asked once in an interview why he did this music with these awful lyrics and dressed up like a woman on stage.
Just disturbing if you really think about it.
Very disturbing.
Very disturbing.
They asked him why, and what impact he thought he was having on the children, because he was influencing these young people. He responded with, well, parents in the culture need to influence their own children, because if they won't, I will.
It's the parents' duty to first influence the children. If they're not doing that, they shouldn't complain about music having a negative influence on their children.
Now, we don't mean this in a disrespectful way. We mean this in complete respect of parental authority. We're just thinking. We're just thinking that many times in modern culture, parents don't always take up what they need to be doing.
They don't.
My parents did. And that's why I'm not in jail.
Realistically, it's true. You don't know this guy like I do.
Anyway, that's Thoughts on a Bench. Edited.